Hallo? Hallo? Testing. Tester. Hallo? Okay. Testing. Okay. But the good news is the live stream seems to have been solved. Yeah. So there are some small technical issues, but now I'm ready to go, and the crew is ready to go, I think. And the question is if the Fermi life forms are ready to go, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So it's so exciting. This is so exciting for humanity. But it's because I've been working on this theory for so long, and in particular now, as the so-called evidence piles up, I'm totally excited about this now. And it's not like I'm totally sure, but let's be honest. Let's say I'm like 30%. If I had to bet money on this or my life on this, let's say I was given the opportunity. I have to make two choices between two doors, for example. If the correct answers between, if the theory is true, the Fermi life forms, the approach theory is true, or it's not true, then I would considering actually 30% to go into the door, which say that the approach theory is true. That's sort of where I'm at, but that makes it very, very interesting, because the consequences of this discovery is so enormous. I mean, even 5% chance was exciting, but now things are, and I see it first. I have always seen it first. I've always been ahead of everyone else in this particular field. I mean, there are plenty of scientists that are better scientists than me. They are smarter than me, can do more than me. And of course, they can catch up. And I hope they catch up and take this thing further down the road. But I have, since I've discovered this and have been working on this theory by myself, I have the upper hand, so to speak. I'm the expert now. But if it, let's say it's true, just in a matter of few years, there are just hordes of other scientists that will. I mean, and I hope they will, because then you have this quantum, this physicists, the mathematicians, the astrophysics, when they can start to analyze, and if this is true, it means that we are having made a connection with a higher life form. But they can make the connection, they can establish this thing, they can make this to I mean, they can make this as a consensus, a mainstream thing that, oh, humanity, around in 2026, humanity understood that we started to communicate or made a connection to another life form. But even I didn't. But I was perhaps the first. I saw it first, but it doesn't mean that I am the smartest. It just means that I looked at the right place. But I hope that these clever scientists out there, you start to use their resources, and I'm totally sure that. So, as I see it, we can actually understand that humanity. We can start to understand if it must be true, of course. But let's say it's true, then it will become a consensus in the scientific community, and they will start using resources on this paradise machine model and the approach theory. And now they can maybe start to really prove it and use statistics and use p-values and calculate the signals, go through it over and over again, run it through their machines, and use all their resources on this, and come out with the consensus. Yes, it's true. There is a life form approaching Earth, as Spanberg predicted. But the beauty then is, let's say in 10 years, if the theory is correct, the signals will continue to get stronger and stronger. So there is only a question of time before this will happen, before they start to pay attention to this and use their resources on this. That's when things really start to, to give a practical usage for humanity. That's when they can really establish this as a consensus, and make it for the first time that humanity make science out of what we used to call religions. And let's say it takes 20 years then from now on. Let's say in 20 years there is consensus, and the joy it will create on Earth. I mean, so what I'm saying is that it could be that humanity, we have been through our worst times, that the time ahead of us could be extremely pleasant. But it will start by us understanding and establishing it as a science. Yes, there is a life form approaching us. Yes, we probably live inside that nature actually, and the universe was created to produce the paradise state. And we can start to prove this concept and make it a scientific consensus, let's say in 15, 20 years. But it starts now with the NASA course and all these confirmations that, and let's say the rocket explodes and thing will just be, and the signals will just continue to get stronger as they come closer and closer. Then it's just a matter of time before the scientific community start to use their resources on this and makes a consensus eventually. Let's say in 15 years then. And from that point on, I think humanity we can start changing how we think. Just I can sense it the way I think. Before I could be much more angry with, you're more scared. But if we humans start to understand this, that this is true, the paradise thing is actually true, we slowly, the other things start. It's not so important anymore. Now I'm thinking about the conflict scenarios we have, for example, in the Middle East, between Israel and Iran, for example, and the Palestinian. Those situations, maybe it can sort of loose up that. Why do we spend time on this? Hey, we are go. There is an eternal paradise here for all of us. So I suspect that it will create a peace on earth, and that we can, and it will be like a medicine that humanity really needs now. So it could be that we have seen the worst of it in life on this planet. And of course, if the day comes, if that part of the theory also is true, that the Fermi life forms actually will come here in a physical presence, as the theories say, that they should live on a mathematical format behind the event, somewhere behind the event horizon, but they should represent a state of 100% intelligence and love. So we can't really. They are not like us. Like they are on a mathematical format. They are just, let's say, they are 10 million times smarter than us and 10 million times more nicer than us. But it could be that they also will actually land come and meet us. That's not an important part of the theory, but in the 2024 article, the approach theory, it actually suggests that they will, because they should come closer and closer and closer and closer. But the day they land, if they land, that means that they are in 100% control, that there are no risk for them of losing. And for example, let's say that happens in, for example, let's say 60 years. Imagine the scenario. The first stage now, this stage now is that and Earth and humanity has always been full of people like me, these scientists that have these crazy ideas, but eventually one of them, also Einstein, was considered crazy. He didn't even wear socks. He was considered a strange character. It's very hard for us to imagine today that he was actually considered a loser or just this strange guy. No one really wanted to have anything to do with, at least in the professional area. He worked. At a point, he actually applied to work as a door salesman to sell vacuum cleaners or something. Then he got this job at this patent bureau, but eventually he was discovered, and then he became this huge personality. But the world is full of these types, and most of them, you don't see them. They end up, God knows who, but there are many of them. So, but let's see that this time around, I was the lucky one that had this idea that I was working on, because to me, this makes really sense. But I notice very well when I am online and try to promote the theory, that I meet a lot of resistance. And it's totally understandable, and I expect it, and I actually also welcome it, because I don't want to have a false theory. I want this to be correct, because it's just a waste. I don't want to waste my time anymore on this. I've been working on this for 20 years, almost 20 years. actively 16 years since I started Head Biotech in 2009. So I'm not interested in continue working on this if it's just bullshit. If I'm convinced it's bullshit, I'm just throwing it out the door. But it's not. I'm not convinced it's bullshit. I'm just getting more and more convinced that I'm surprised. I'm almost at a, it's almost to the point that I'm getting a little bit scared. For example, when I saw how 3i Atlas how 3i Atlas moved in our solar system. But I need, for those of you that are new, you need to go back to the pilot episode in the podcast. But now, tonight is a big night for me. So that's why it is a big night for me. Almost anyway, because it is. I'm sure that the Fermi life forms, they are hands-on. They need to be. They have to be. And the question is if the NASA curse is correct and all these incidents is actually influenced by them. So that's sort of how I see it, where we stand, that we are in a very interesting time point now. That's still, I'm alone about the theory, but I can sense there are some people picking up on it, but the data isn't strong enough yet to get some serious attention. But I suspect that, for example, people in NASA and some people around, they have spent some resources on it, read my articles, and actually concluded that, we should pay attention to this. I suspect that. And that's also why, on X and on Facebook, that I made this claim, that because when I started to follow NASA after Maven, really, or in particular after that, the 7th of January, I started to follow NASA more and more, and went into their and when I started the podcast, I had to do research on podcasts. I really started to actively following them, because before I never paid any real attention to NASA, and all of a sudden, and then that terrible murder happened, February 16th, and at some point there, because that was the 4th incident. And that was totally, and that was in episode 3. I go through the case, and I think it's very likely that Carl was involved in a secret project on analyzing the 3i Atlas images from the shutdown last fall, which should have triggered the NASA curse in the first place, because they are interrupting their approach process, and they are not here on vacation. They are here. It's a very, very serious issue for them, if the theory is correct, because they have received a zero risk signal, and they should know what that signal means. Even though it was 20 years ago, they know if we don't deal with this down the line, it might be thousands of years down the line, but if we don't deal with this now, like in a casino owner, detect the cheaters in his or her casino, but it's not just that they are going bankrupt, and it's not even that they are going to get killed. But it's about that their paradise state can, in principle, be challenged by the opposite to paradise. So when NASA disturbs their approach process, that should really angers them or make them scared or whatever, and make them. So I'm not sure how they think about it, but I just noticed that just 14 days after, it started with the Maven. NASA lost contact with their Maven probe on Mars. It started to tumble. It wasn't that old equipment. Then they had to, and then some weeks later, 7th of January, they had to abort the space mission in 4 weeks early due to disease, due to a medical situation. And then the NASA plane crash landing 27th of January. And that's when now it's been 3 incidents since they since they finally released the pictures, since the 43-day delay of them holding on to the images of 3I Atlas, because the Fermi life forms, according to the approach theory, the Fermi life forms uses interstellar objects to communicate, as with Oumuamua. But that's from my perspective, and I don't expect anyone to take this like this. You have to go. It takes time. You have to go through the articles. But I made a pilot episode, and I tried to make a short version. So if you see the pilot episode, then you should be covered, and so you can make your own ideas if you think it's a good idea or not. Yeah, and then of course Artemis the first attempt for Artemis II was February 8th, and it was cancelled. But that's not so strange. That happens all the time. And they had this wet dress rehearsal where the hydrogen, when it went from slow filling to fast filling, there had some leakage in the hydrogen gas on 16%. But so there is this technical specification that NASA has when the leakage is more than 16%, they shut off the whole thing, and they had to cancel that launch and roll it back into the maintenance building. So, but now we are back, and they had some other problems, other issues in the March though. But now we are back. But I think that's totally okay. I mean, imagine how complicated these things are, and it's totally understandable. So I don't even consider the delay of the launch as a part of the NASA curse at all. But then we had these human tragedies. In particular, that really shocked me, I must say. But at least now I can document it, because that happened after I started the podcast. And remember, in episode 2, and in episode 1, the first episode, I sat down, okay, maybe I should do some research on NASA, because I didn't know too much about NASA, really. So I started to do some research on NASA. Make a presentation when they started and things like that. And then this Jack Parsons emerged. That was the first time I saw a picture of Jack Parsons. I never heard about the guy. But then it was this on YouTube, it said, oh, the demon guy or whatever, this crazy guy, Jack Parsons started NASA or something. And okay, so but in the beginning I actually skipped the videos because because I had to dig some information about NASA because I didn't really care about that thing. But and then I saw one of the videos. And then I started, wow, and then it becomes more and more about this Jack Parsons and this Telemachect and Aleister Crowley and all this story back from the 30s. And then eventually, when I found out that he also was like a globalist, Marxist globalist, and the things he had said, so I started to dig really. I listened to a lot of podcasts and I read a lot about him, and eventually I thought, oh man, according to the Paradise Machine model and the fourth law of thermodynamics, they actually represented the evil direction. But it's very important for me now that we have to emphasize this. We don't care about that. We don't care, okay? We are humans. I mean, seeing through with biological glasses, we are all the same. There are no one that has peaked up and are extremely more evil than someone else. We are totally approximately about here. We just have different strategies, and some of us that appear to be very, very nice, perhaps is a little bit more evil than someone that doesn't appear to be so nice, but because we don't really have the tools to measure it. So it's very important for me to, I really don't want to try to start a witch hunt process here or anything like that. And I will be the first one who plays the ball. But I know we should still be allowed to be angry at each other and stuff like that. But I think that eventually, if this approach theory get consensus in the scientific community, I think we will start to smooth all these old things over more and more. And even the strongest conflicts we have, for example, in the Middle East, I think even that conflict down in Israel with the Palestinians and the Muslims and the Jews, basically, that even those because it start to become, it's not interesting anymore. Hey, we have this eternal situation. It's a totally new situation here now in science that we have made this consensus that we think we live in a paradise machine. Like Elon Musk and them, they would call it, oh, it's the quantum simulation computer or something. But yeah, but I defined the design in the machine, the goal of the machine, all this, that this state of eternal paradise. And who cares about that stupid conflict down there in the Middle East? That's what I'm saying. So I think our focus will change very much in all types of conflicts. Or I feel I want to contribute to that development. But I admit that I am one of the worst when it comes to political debates and blaming the blame game and stuff. But we should allow. I don't think, as long as we don't start a nuclear war, basically what I'm saying, as long as we don't, it had been very stupid of us to start a nuclear war right now, just maybe 15 years, 20 years before the scientific community on Earth has made consensus about the Paradise Machine model. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm just going to make myself a cup of coffee here. But it's still a test, and the actual live stream will probably be in Norwegian. And I will move the camera a bit and go back to the old studio The reason the camera is so close now is just because I was doing some testing here earlier. Yeah, and so I turn off the microphone, but now that I just want to keep the live stream going, because now I want to become a bit familiar with the thing here, okay? Before the actual launch happens it's supposed to happen then in about 20 hours then. About 20 hours from now, the Artemis II, that's the first time window. And they have in this time window, they have 6, in theory, they have 6 attempts in the next 4 days. But the first attempt, if everything goes smooth with the weather, and the weather seems fine, or at least it seems okay. So, but if the first attempt goes, there are no cloud, no wind, there are no rain, no sun. There can also be sun radiation with some proton and particle issues, which can disturb the electronics. But if none of that happens, and the countdown, and there are no issues with hydrogen leakage or anything, that sort of problems which has plagued them before, then the rocket will launch in about 20 hours. Okay. So now I take a little break now, but I will still keep the live stream going. So because I don't want to lose this now.
I was the sky, coming through like a bell. I know it at the time, I'm a bit of just a nail. So say life, the business life is necessary. But I know what's the point, I don't know what to be. But never since I'm afraid, are you willing to promises? You walk away, to the living of a mess. is a blame for unbelievable things. I develop thought that will be not done for me. But never the rest. That's a 1,000-year-old line proved to be wrong. Now I'm medieval. Right now you may be walking up the dark night, thinking never desire. Right now you may be walking up the dark night. From God. I'm lying in my bed. People are staring down at me, or they're crying. They're trying to comfort me, till they know I'm dying. I'm going to say that as I close my eyes, expecting to see the light. My soul is my body, now I see the light. The Like a star on the place of hell, now abandoned in the dim of hell. Down there every day, people die of those times, trapped in the battle, ocean below.
Welcome to Acid Theater. Welcome to Acid Theater. Welcome to Acid Theater. Welcome to Acid Theater.
I'm not invited, but I'm here. Just watch me while I drink my beer. I guess there's something you should learn. I love to party all night long. I see the girls are very nice. I am the captain, they're the mice. Here we go, it's party on. Come on, the jerk is in. The jerk has arrived. The jerk has arrived. What's your name and tell me where you're from? I am from Norway in Oslo. I lived on you and we were met. Where I'm from they would be glad. And if you try to get on ahead, Mr. Bear will knock your head. I'm sorry, maybe we should dance. Come on, the jerk is here. The jerk has arrived. The jerk has arrived. Cheers! is alright. There white gates said, got their proud ships on the sea, restored with sword and spear. Then they gathered around the globe, and they slaughtered from door to door. Their white geese sailed. They went out to rape and fight, didn't care if it was day or night, suffering under stars above. They killed, they liked it slow. Is this wrong? You should know, you should know, you should know. Is this wrong? That we can ourselves to believe. Is this wrong? You should know, you should know, you should know. Is this wrong? You should know. That we can ourselves to believe. It was our God. They came home on a summery day. All the anger was left away. This was all they needed to do. All the mushrooms made a mile go through. Is that wrong? You should know, you should know, you should know. Yes, that's wrong. That we can ourselves to believe. Is this wrong? You should know, you should know, you should know. Is this wrong? You should know. That we can ourselves to believe. It was our God. What a beautiful pearl you are. In my dreams we rock the stars. The first time in your room, so a little smile and hope. Some time has gone by now, and I prepare the moment of truth. Oh, you feels like home. Every nerve is an enemy. I got a secret you have to know. 'Cause I can't hide it anymore. That I love you. I love you. That I love you. That I love you. And doubt will always be there. In this nervous atmosphere, it's too late to let